recruiting class, the early signing of a National Letter of Intent Day yesterday. Ohio State, I think it was the 5th-ranked recruiting class nationally. What's the reaction been in Columbus to that?
Obviously, they're happy with it, but the conversation at this point is NIL, name, image, and likeness. And there is some thought out there of, as good as this class is, it is the 5th-ranked class in the country. But if you look at just average star rating, it actually jumps up to 3rd. You're talking about quality, but it does feel like maybe there were some things left on the board, and you wonder what could have been in the world before NIL. But now that is a factor that Ohio State is trying to navigate through and try to adapt to.
And NIL is a challenge because the rules are different in different states. That's kind of the message and the method and what's going on with that. There are no standard rules for NIL.
Yeah, the NCAA sucks. The NCAA very much dropped the ball. I don't even know how to sugarcoat it at this point. It's turned this into the wild, wild west. Let me make this perfectly clear. I have no problem with college athletes making money off their name, image, and like this. I mean, the rest of us can do it. Why can't they? But there is no set standard of rules here. And it's not even really the state laws that are the issue here. The state laws just say you can do it. The problem is that NIL was not meant to be a way to induce kids to come to schools basically by paying recruits to commit to your school. And that's what it has very quickly turned into, which, I mean, we've heard rumors and stories of that for a long time, especially in college football, but now it's legal. Now there's no sanctions if you get caught doing it. And so there's no regulation for it. It is just kind of, up in the air. And for Ohio State, it's not so much that they don't want to partake in some of that. They would rather not pay recruits to come to Ohio State. That's not where they want to start the conversation. But at this point, this is where we are, and they have to figure out a way to navigate it and really just kind of keep up and not fall behind, because this can get very ugly really quickly unless there's any type of regulation that happens over the next couple of years.
Who are some of the big name recruits that Ryan Day pulled in that they're happy to have down in Columbus?
Yeah, I think the biggest names are obviously the wide receivers. Brian Hartline is the best assistant coach in college football at this point, whether it's, developing the talent you're seeing with Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave are doing in the NFL, or even Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., or bringing it in. The top of that list is Brandon Ennis for this 2023 class. He's the number 4 receiver in the country, the number 29 player, the only 5-star in this recruiting class, which is not normal. Ohio State usually has 2 or 3 5-stars. This is actually the first time they've had just one in a class since 2016 with Nick Bosa. But Brandon Ennis and Noah Rogers, those are the top 2 names on the board. Noah Rogers, number 45 player. Those guys, they can contribute immediately. And then you look at a guy like Luke Montgomery, one of 7 kids from Ohio. He's been one of the vocal leaders of this class as an offensive tackle. This is a guy that even if he probably won't start as a true freshman because it's hard for offensive linemen to do so. But this is a kid who could be a multi-year starter at any spot on the offensive line. But once again, this is Brian Hartline showing just how valuable he is to this program. He's got 3 kids in the top 100 if you add Carnell Tate in there, and then another kid by the name of Bryson Rogers, who has got Ohio roots living down in Florida.